Yes.
I'm rolling.
Josh Arnold Investment Consultant brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1559, June 9th, 2025. 96 degrees on this day in 2021. 39 degrees on this day in 1915. Call Josh at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
The fellow who won the Masters Mpls Friday for GLer of the Week,
Father Doug.
Doug Ebert, notes, he noted this Friday, I'm actually listening. I hope I don't get excommunicated. Oh, we're not that bad.
You have to laugh.
The Champlain Park team won the 4A softball tournament, the girls' tournament. And I'm getting many, many emails suggesting, as we have suggested, that something should be done about this. And then there is the possibility that there is no controversy here. There is a possibility that Marissa is, in fact, Marissa. And we are subject to emailers who, for all, their intentions are wonderful, but we can't go with their information because it's not official. What I can tell you that there are extenuating circumstances in this case. I certainly didn't take them into effect, and for that I regret that. But this isn't. I don't think this is a cut and dried situation where a guy was playing on the women's softball team. That is the suspicion that's been raised by an emailer who is a frequent emailer, and I recognize his name, and I'm sure his intentions are honest. But again, he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have information that would allow me to say for certain what I'm dancing around. What I'm dancing around is that there is the very real probability that this young person is in fact Marissa. Meaning information that I don't want to go into because A, it's not I have no knowledge of it reliably, and two, that's something I would think I would wonder why the family would not have taken care of that.
We have information that's pretty good information, but we can't confirm it with other sources.
Yeah, how can I confirm it?
And believe me, I've been trying all morning long, and I can't find anyone that will come on the record and tell us what we think we know.
And what we think we know is that Marissa pitched a hell of a game and Champlain Park won. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go on with my life.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Then there were some other things that we've been made aware of that apparently she tried to quit the team twice, and her teammate said, "No, please stay."
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you're a good pitcher.
You know, it just shows you when you're in this game, this business, there's a tremendous responsibility that I often just blow it completely. There's a tremendous responsibility to be what is so rare now in America, and that is careful. right? Oh, I said right. Oh, my God.
I was willing to let it go.
Oh, my God, I
was
said right.
You must shame yourself.
There's a terrible there's a responsibility to be terrible when you're discussing controversial issues. And what has happened to America is that nope, it's either black or white, and very few people are capable or willing to stop and say, no, let me think about this some more. There must be a middle ground.
Yeah.
For example, and that's all I have to say about this. They won the tournament. God bless them. See you later. All right. But terrible responsibility a terrible obligation to be responsible. Look at the situation in Los Angeles.
They have some issues.
Right. And
Oh, you did it again.
No, that was the correct use of it.
Okay.
They have some issues.
Gotcha.
Right, they do. I wasn't looking for a confirmation of an opinion. All right. Or I wasn't looking for a confirmation of a declarative sentence.
Okay.
Now, either the force exhibited by the National Guard and talk of calling up Marines and the heavy presence of police for a roundup by ICE of suspected illegals, either that's been overblown and was unnecessary to create that kind of show of force, or it wasn't. One side of the country is saying, go get them. Throw in more flashbang grenades. Do what you got to do. Take them down. And the other half, if they're not protesting, are at least scratching their head saying, why is there this almost militaristic outpouring of response here? And Trump threatening to sue Karen Bass and Gavin Newsome. What the hell? Aren't you just going in there to, say to Pedro, I need to see if you're here legally or not? And instead it's turning into this conflagration. It's dominated the news for the past 2 days. There's been rioting and burning cars. And again, what I'm interested in is if couldn't this have been done more, or is it there even an obligation to do such a thing discreetly? Maybe discreetly is the wrong word. But is there a need to be so flagrant in your outpouring of power and authority? We know that, we know you're the authority. We get that.
Right.
Why are you throwing grenades? Yeah.
It's not fully formed yet, but it doesn't seem to me, and I hope you can prove me wrong, that are you referring to the administration?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't. Never mind. I'm going to walk it back. Never mind.
Well,
I was just thinking in the case of Minneapolis last week, okay?
Nobody
week? Was, wasn't it Tuesday of last week?
Yes.
Nobody in authority was swaggering or making announcements or proclamations. They were just doing their job, and all the press came from the people that thought it was ICE. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, good point. So maybe this Los Angeles now, riotous now for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a case where the authorities came in to do their job, didn't put on a big show, but were instantly hectored by protesters, and then suddenly it blew up into what we're seeing. Maybe the authorities were more than willing to just come in, do their gig, and get out, but the protesters intervene at this point, and now it's a thing.
Maybe. I see John typing. I hope he gets to the bottom of it. John,
we have
finding anything?
Not yet, but I just started. So
Okay.
we have audio to play, correct, Chris?
Well, I was going to mention the media in the greater Los Angeles area.
All right.
Gentlemen, I'm going to take you to ABC7 Action Team News.
Action Force Team 1500?
Correct. And ABC reporter talking about bringing in law enforcement in Los Angeles.
Large group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Well, that's a very unsatisfactory report by a person who sounds like a complete moron.
Complete clown.
Joe, they're just enjoying it.
We're having fun watching cars burn. Be careful where you put the law enforcement. Well,
Do you think Gwen Walls was one of those people enjoying the cars burning?
She probably would if she was there. I suspect she's not.
Windows open.
I got a notice from an emailer that she gave a high school graduation. I think it's Central, and she was doing this "let's be nice to each other" BS, and then railed about Trump for 20 minutes.
Just what they want to hear.
Yeah. That's an absurd report. The police presumably did not light their own cars on fire.
I would be willing to bet that was not the case.
And the police weren't waving flags that were of other countries.
No.
It may very well be that law enforcement. Now, what does this fellow mean? His biases are so patently obvious, it's ridiculous. But what does he mean? Be careful where you put law enforcement. That's not his job to determine that. That would be law enforcement's job. But it has blown up into a riotous situation with concrete heaved off the bridges, sheriff cars burning, all of the things we saw here in 2020. So we live in difficult times trying to figure out where we are and what the hell's going on. I would have arrested Karen Bass, but that was for the fires. But that was a long time. That was last January. Newsome, on what grounds do you arrest him? You can't arrest him for being a moron. He's a dreadful idiot. But you can't arrest him for that. Otherwise, we'd all be in trouble. I don't know, folks. We don't have the answers to, and everything is a puzzle. Everything we encounter is a puzzle.
Well, you mentioned Karen Bass.
I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I disapprove of train cars right now hauling tanks to Washington, D.C. so they can be on display Saturday in a parade. First of all, I bet the streets cannot withstand tank traffic. So on top of whatever else this bleeping parade will cost for Trump's birthday and to celebrate the military, I wonder if you're going to have to rebuild every street that tanks go on. Because they weigh quite a bit. I don't know. I'm sure tons. Where was I? Karen Bass. Okay, what were you going to say about Karen Bass?
Your line about politics is nothing works. And you're seeing it on full display in the greater Los Angeles area, where you had Karen Bass out in another country while the city was on fire.
Yep.
Because the reservoirs were empty.
Yep.
And now you got this whole situation that's developed over the last couple of days.
What Karen Bass has said is that we could have handled this with our law enforcement. We didn't need to have this display of power thrust upon us. That's what she said. Now, I don't trust Karen Bass as far as I can throw her. I don't think she should be the mayor of Los Angeles. She's already demonstrated that. She is a Mysterian, well-schooled in Mysterian ideology. I have no time for Karen Bass. She should not be the mayor of Dogpatch, Arkansas, much less Los Angeles. But she's on the scene, and she might be justified in saying, what the hell, we got this. We could have handled this. Why this invasion of National Guard and now the possibly Marines from Camp Pendleton and what have you, unless that in itself is in response to the riots that have followed because of the origination of the raid.
The mayor of Dogpatch is Jerry Jackson.
Is there a dog patch, Arkansas?
Well, yeah, that's why I thought you brought it up.
No, I didn't know there was a dog patch, Arkansas. And we have similar problems here we're wrestling with. We have been lectured by politicians, chief among them the mayor of Minneapolis, who went so far as Friday to speak in the Somali language, which he doesn't know. He had big cue cards. To basically tell us, instruct us that we had best realize that not only are the Somalis welcome here, but they're here to stay, and they are a vital part of strengthening the diversity of Minneapolis.
The more I thought about it, do you think he would have done that if it had not been a re-election year for him and he's running against the likes of Omar Fateh?
Oh, given the way he's behaved, yeah, he might have. But you're
Think
right.
so?
This gives him extra impetus to be courting the Somali community.
Because as we've said so many times, we better hope he gets reelected so the likes of Omar Fateh do not.
And much of what is said about the Somali community is absolutely true. They can be important neighbors. They can be our friends and co-workers and what have you. And that happens often. But generally speaking, if trouble occurs in Minneapolis, it's generally a Somali involved, whether it's fraud or shooting off fireworks horizontally or raising hell in the streets or shooting up the Burnsville High School graduation.
Burnsville or Wayzata?
Both.
Oh.
Now, again, we don't know if they were graduates and inside. The shootings occurred outside the venues. Burnsville had its graduation in the school. And but Friday night, there was gunfire outside the school, and we've arrested 18-year-old Abdikani Mukhtar Abdulwahab. We've arrested 18-year-old Abdul Ali Jama Ali. We've arrested 18-year-old Amir Maulid Ali. We've arrested 18-year-old Mustafa Yusuf Omar. Come on, this is getting to be common as hell. Stop it.
Why are we so mad at graduation?
Stop shooting at graduations. What have I missed here? Anything? Let me turn the page. According to Dakota County Jail roster, Abdi Wahab and Abdulahali Jama Ali are being held on probable cause of a drive-by shooting with a dangerous weapon towards a motor vehicle or a building, possession of a dangerous weapon on school property, and carrying a pistol without a permit. The jail roster says Amir Maulid Ali is being held for the Minneapolis FBI for prohibited owning, possessing, or operating a machine gun and or short-barrel shotguns. Omar is being held on probable cause for trespassing. At this time, it is unknown if any of the men who were arrested were connected to Burnsville High School. The incident occurred, though, 30 minutes after the Burnsville High School graduation ceremony ended. And it was right there just west of the school building when multiple reports of gunshots were made. And gratefully, no injuries. Just a lot of shooting.
Right.
That's from KSTP covering. I saw nothing in the local news. If it was there, I missed it. By local news, I mean the conventional news gatherers, principally the Star Tribune. I didn't see anything about it. I think it's newsworthy of a high school graduation upon its completion. They go outside and all of a sudden they're facing gunfire. I think that's a story.
Yeah.
I think that's a story.
I will look.
The American Experiment says, okay, late last month, it was the Wayzata High School ceremony.
They did have a story online anyway. I did not see the print version.
What's
but
the date of it?
June 7th at 2:56 p.m.
Okay, that was Saturday. Okay, they had it online. I did not see it in the Saturday paper. If I missed it, I apologize. Police officers heard and responded to reports of gunshots, while officers from several other agencies also responded. Okay. All the young men are still being held pending an initial court appearance today. Each has a different charge of different offenses. Hamza Saeed, the 20-year-old arrested in connection with the Wayzata graduation incident, is still being held on 3 felony counts at the Hennepin County Jail, pending a $200,000 bond. Mary, what are you going to do with him? Mary won't have anything to do with the Burnsville shooters because that's Dakota County. That'll have to be the Dakota.
But you said
County.
he's being held where?
The Wayzata shooting
I'm
suspect
sorry.
is held in Minneapolis, in
Sorry.
the Hennepin County Jail.
Okay.
His name is, you know what? I have a theory. Do you think they all got girlfriends who graduated and they're having a dust up in their relationship? Is that a possibility? No.
No.
Doesn't the Burnsville one sound like a gang thing? Like
Yeah.
a drive-by?
But this Hamza guy, the Wayzata shooter, he's 20. Maybe he just happened to see somebody he needed to shoot, and it just happened to be in front of Mariucci, which just happened to be letting out the Wayzata High School.
Usually,
grads.
though, because I was reading a secondhand account of the Burnsville situation, and this started inside, apparently, this started inside, and it escalated outside, if that makes any sense. Because it's the disrespectful nature inside while the ceremony is happening.
Closed graduations. It's that easy. Just close them down. It's for students and parents and brothers and sisters.
Kenny,
only.
I
no
would-
grandparents, no cousins,
Oh,
no
please,
friends.
do me the
no,
favor.
No, nobody.
Don't
Parents-
invite
Still
me.
going.
Kenny and
Parents and siblings.
I agree with you, but the one I attended a year ago, the reason that fights had started was because you had to have a ticket to get in, and people were being turned away, and that's what started the chaos.
I have a better solution. Given that the kids aren't doing that well anyway, you always have a percentage of the kids who took high school seriously and were able to extract a good education. But I hate to say it, but I think the vast percentage doesn't. No graduation at all. It was a big deal in 1890. It's not a big deal today to graduate from high school. Hell, they're going to push you out and tell you graduated. They don't care.
Here, take this and leave.
Yeah.
So,
Kids deserve that pomp and
oh,
circumstance. Joe.
BS. Go have
Yeah,
your own party
no,
and shoot each
shut up.
other in your backyard.
Shut up. No, you're wrong. Kids deserve it. 12 years. Come on, give it to them.
Yeah, I'd cancel the whole thing.
We know.
Well, if you graduate from college, go ahead then have a little ceremony. You know.
No, that's the one you skip.
Oh,
Who cares about that?
I enjoyed the college graduations. I attended all those. I didn't like the one in Northfield, though. It was hotter than hell, and it was on the football field. You're outside. You were, sweating like a horse. Do horses sweat? Yeah.
Now you get wet.
They also get songs stuck in their head.
Yeah.
Just when you thought you could leave the garage door open for a couple of beautiful, warm summer days and nights, the cold weather hit us again, and the door's closing and opening and closing and opening. I hope you've taken care of it. And if you have a problem, you need Precision Door MN. They are a great, great garage door repair company serving western Wisconsin and the entire metro area. The emailers, the GLers who've used Precision Door are terribly happy about it. If you need a new door, Precision Door has models for every budget. And they send the designer out. That's all free of charge, of course. And if you get a new door now, they're throwing in that new motor, which is a value of more than $760. You can book online at Precision Door MN. That's one word, PrecisionDoorMN.com, or call Precision Door at 612-263-6985.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
The 51st MSRA Back to the 50s weekend at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Here it comes, quickly approaching the 20th of this month. There's going to be over 10,000 pre-64 hot rods and customs. There's going to be over 200 vendors, both inside and out. There's going to be a swap meet. There's going to be a cruise, an arts craft fair, ladies showcase, kids world, and the Garage Logic podcast is going to be there. We're going to be there Friday the 20th, Friday, laying down a pod right around noon. We're going to be at O'Gara's. They're on the corner of Dan Patch and Cosgrove. There's a flyover at 11 a.m. on Saturday, church on Sunday morning, and the reason we're going, the Great Race kicks off from the fairgrounds on Saturday. GLL, we're there not only to celebrate cylinders, but we want to talk to the fellas that participate in the Great Race. It's a fun endurance race that over the span of a week will finally end up in South Carolina. It's for cars 1974 and older. And we'd love to see you guys, all of you out there on Friday the 20th at the O'Gara's location, noon on Friday, for the 51st MSRA Back to the 50s weekend.
Do you know that if you're 51 years old today, you were born in 1974?
All right.
In 1974...
Oh, boy, this is going to be depressing. I don't like when people do this.
51 years ago in 1974 was 1923. Isn't that something?
That's something that I don't want to think about.
So I was looking at the Great Race and how it's conducted. It's much like if I used to enter enduro motorcycle races through the woods. You have to be at a checkpoint at an assigned time. Mm-hmm. And I think when I was racing, the goal was to be awarded 0 points. So you get penalized if you show up too early. You get penalized if you show up too late. So that's what makes this really, really fun.
Well, plus this is expensive. This is not. Yeah. It costs quite a bit to enter this.
Yeah.
Are they allowed a not a tow vehicle?
I was going to say no. They're not allowed. I don't even know what you're going to ask, and I think the answer is no. They're not allowed anything, including GPS.
But when they get to a stop, if they can limp their way in, if they're having trouble, they get to work on the cars.
I think so.
No, they get to work on the cars.
Yeah, I think so. And in my case, when I was racing, it was worse to be early than it was to be late.
Why?
So I don't know how this is going to work.
Oh.
I actually lost a race, took second because I came in too early to one of the checkpoints. So this could be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. If only we knew what their route was.
That's top secret.
They keep that secret.
Yeah.
They don't want people like me sitting up a lawn chair. And,
right.
You know.
You should work a checkpoint.
Well.
Look at that piece of S.
Right. Here's Nova.
Here's something I would not do. The St. Paul Schools is hiring a director of education equity for $167,000 a year salary. Oof. I would not hire a director of education equity.
Oh.
I have it from an emailer who sent me the notice from the school district. The school board has approved a referendum this fall, in part not to spend more effectively, but to prop up the insane woke agenda. And some, well, here it is. 2025-2026 Director of Education Equity from the Equity Department, Professional Learning and Experience Coordination. Design and lead professional development activities on issues related to racial, linguistic, and culturally sustainable practices. I can't read this BS. It's the same stuff we've been bitching about for years. Support affinity groups such as gender and sexuality alliances. Compile and analyze program data and prepare reports. Monitor the implementation and impact of equity capacity development across the district. None of this can be measured for achievement. Facilitate professional development programs, including trainings, consultation, centered on any of the following: racial equity, gender inclusion, ableism, justice, equity, diversity, and intersectionality, cultural and linguistic competence, implicit bias, and dismantling institutional and systemic racism. None of it can be measured for achievement. None of it results in anything, and you're bringing in some other stiff to pay $167,000. So, and the taxpayers wonder in St. Paul and Minneapolis why their property taxes keep going up, because you've got a terribly inadequate group of school board professionals. They're just activists. They're no longer members of the wider community. They're professional activists. Professional activists run for the city council, and apparently you people don't care. And along comes this nonsense. Now we're going to need another $167,000 to pay somebody else who cannot demonstrate the accomplishment of anything.
I don't think this is new, Joe.
Yeah.
They've had one for some time. In fact, she must be retiring by what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Her name is Mila Pope. She's been the director of equity at St. Paul Public Schools since 2022. Before that, she was the assistant director since November 2016 to May 2022. Before that, she was an assistant administrator in the same department from January 2013 to November 2016. So I wonder how long this has been around, this position.
Let me ask you something. You're pretty creative. If you got this job, this position, and you had to show your worth, here's what I've done on a monthly basis, what would that be?
If I got that position with my current thinking...
No. You don't let your current thinking get in the way.
Because I'd end the position.
I know you would. How would you fake your way through life if this was your job? I can't even think of a way to fake it.
Well, thank you. I was just going to say, I can't put myself in those shoes.
Matthew, you're the greatest faker
you're the
of all
faker.
of us.
How would you?
Matt?
This is a great...
I look up to you, man.
Yeah, you're making $167K a year. You're the education equity. You're the head. You're the director of the education equity department. Right. And please tell us, Mr. Mikulski, it's time for your monthly review. What did you do? What did you accomplish in the month of May?
Well, first and foremost, I feel a little bit of pressure here from you guys trying to make me be accountable. So that scares me a little bit. But I can tell you that I touched the hearts of many people that came to me with issues on diversity, inclusion, equity, and I assured them that we will fight for them till the end.
Mr. Mikulski, how do you know you touched the hearts of them?
Yeah.
By the smile on their face when they left.
So basically, this is all a...
this sounds like food fraud.
Is that the sum total of what you accomplished in May? Is that any different? Is that any different, sir, than what you accomplished in February?
There was, I would say it was a little heavier this past month.
Sure.
More paperwork and such. more meetings and so forth.
But don't you have a touching story about a girl who you really connected with, who fill in the blank and then did this and fill in, and her parents and grandparents, and yeah, you got to phony up some kind of BS story.
I do have many of those stories, but due to data privacy acts, I cannot convey them to you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to continue to.
She's a minority.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to collect my check. And
do you write reports, sir?
Again, data privacy. I really can't.
Well, you either write a report or you don't. I'm not asking you for the content of the report.
There's reports.
I have a better request, Joe. How do you justify your position at your current job at the airport?
Oh, very well.
No, I'm not done with the equity director. You've admitted you write the reports.
Oh, there's reports.
Who did they go to?
The boss.
You're the boss. You're the director of the equity program.
There's a board that we have set up that oversees quarterly. So I have reports that are due quarterly, but up until that point, I'm really not at liberty to say and such.
It's tough.
Any other questions?
Even Matthew.
If Matt can't do it, then the director of equity can't do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to see those HR files, though, the job review files?
Oh, my God. We've drifted so far from GL. I mean, the world has. We haven't. It's just, that's $167,000. That doesn't count the benefits, probably the car allowance, the vacation, the medical.
Oh, yeah.
All for nothing, because there's not a chance in hell you can justify this. It doesn't result in anything.
Right.
That's the failed academy. And I'm accusing you, sir, the director of the group, I'm accusing you of utter failure.
Well, I'll just take my $163,000 a year. 67, and I'll run with it. And then when I quit, I'll just take the buyout. Yeah, I'm just a good buyout.
May I ask a question?
You may.
Is the political version of right and such?
Yes, according to this fellow.
And such. There are forms and such.
It's a much more professional way of saying right.
Yes. And a whole bunch of other stuff. And
I
so
thought
forth.
you were going to start telling us about maps and why there aren't enough.
Why aren't there enough maps?
Yeah. Well, that's where you got the and such from.
Yeah. South Carolina teen.
Yeah.
I do believe.
And we have, I'm going to save this. We have a report coming up. You people were not helpful, but we have correspondence. The Mink went out over the weekend and he attended the sharpening of the pencil. He attended the event. And let me just look at this. Oh, my
it looked like Woodstock in that neighborhood, Such. Did you see all the people?
Yeah, it was quite the,
a lot of people.
Event. And the Mink has a pretty good report on that. Say, extra is ordinary in Sioux Falls. Get it? Extraordinary.
Got it.
In addition to have a business-friendly tax environment with no personal or corporate state income taxes, Sioux Falls is growing. It has a large, well-educated workforce. Cost of living is low, and with a central location and developed industrial park, so is your cost of doing business. Contact the Sioux Falls Development Foundation to connect with resources to stop searching for a perfect business site and start growing in Sioux Falls. If you're moving your business, starting a new business, expanding your business, you might want to check out Sioux Falls because it's in one of the most business-friendly states in the country. Voted #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes magazine. We're showing they're building more industrial parks as we speak, but a beautiful town, not that far away. And you know what else it is? It's first in the nation for total bank assets. $3.5 trillion. You know what that means? You wouldn't have trouble getting a loan for a great business. They'll take care of you in Sioux Falls. It's all one word, but find out everything you need at SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. than this on, Chris?
Don't know, Joe. Try it
The
again.
Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Well, I know it's a water-activated formula. It doesn't contain any harsh chemicals, so that leaves us to assume that Bugs Be Gone is just, I don't know, pure magic, voodoo, supernatural. It's really amazing. It removes dried-on bugs, big squishy bugs, organic crud, algae, mildew, anything you can think of, brake dust, road grime, and it just makes it melt away. It's a wonderful pre-soak before you go into the car wash. Blast down your windshield while you're sitting there in line. It works on everything, RVs, campers, bikes, sleds, lawn equipment, whatever you can dream up, even in the kitchen and the bath. And the process is so simple. You spray it on, wait a couple, 2-3 minutes, wash it off with ease. And it's safe on everything. Vehicle paint, clear coat, gel coat. You can use it on your boat, mirrors, carpet, plastic, vinyl, everything. It's water activated, no harsh chemicals, and like Seafoam and all the other products, works better than anything else on the shelf. Just ignore everything else and get yourself a couple, 2-3 spray bottles of Bugs Be Gone. It's the best, and no surprise, it comes from our friends at Seafoam.
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. Minnesota lawmakers holding their special session today. They started at 10 this morning, trying to get a budget wrapped up. One big sticking point that could potentially derail getting the budget done, whether to include undocumented immigrants in Minnesota Care, the state's health care program. Minnesotans are split on the issue, according to a new KSTP Survey USA poll. That shows about 35% of respondents saying adults and children should be allowed to enroll. 30% say they should all be removed from the program. Another 23% say adults should be removed, children allowed to remain. And another 12% say they're not sure. As it's written right now, only undocumented children will have health insurance, and children make up 25% of those who are insured, while the rest are adults. Democrats argue if undocumented immigrants aren't insured, it will cost more when they show up for medical treatment, in turn making it more expensive in the long run. Republicans disagree. Another issue awaiting lawmakers, transportation bill, which includes a recently added provision that has a handful of metro area counties up in arms. As it's currently written, $93 million will be diverted to the Met Council or bus rapid transit projects. That money would come from a metro area sales tax that began in 2023. That tax was aimed at helping counties around the Metro Fund work on their roads, trails, and transit projects. If the change in the bill does pass, those counties would instead have their share of that money slashed in half. The same KSTP Survey USA poll we mentioned earlier shows Minnesotans are split on their approval of the legislature and who they blame for all the stalemating that's been going on since they started. 43% of respondents either strongly or somewhat disapprove of the work legislators are doing here. 41% say they strongly or somewhat approve. As for those who they blame for the stalemate, 19% say Governor Walz, another 13% say the Minnesota House, 8% say the DFL-controlled Senate, and 40% blame all three.
So let's just say we go ahead and sign off and come on in and get your health care. What's going to stop us from becoming California?
The National Guard.
I'm not joking.
I don't know. Nothing. Nothing will stop it.
No, we don't need this here.
Meanwhile, the long-awaited trial of Democratic Senator Nicole Mitchell will sort of be getting underway today.
Yeah, please.
But not till she casts that vote.
God almighty.
Mitchell will appear remotely in Becker County District Court today ahead of her burglary trial. That trial is expected to begin next Monday with jury selection. Well, the recent legislative session postponed her trial, and Judge Michael Fritz is allowing the senator to appear virtually this afternoon because of today's special session. It's the last virtual court hearing scheduled before Mitchell has to return to Detroit Lakes, where the case originated in April 2024 when she allegedly broke into her late father's home where her stepmother lives.
Can all citizens get the deference shown to this screwball?
No, not a chance.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
absolutely
happen.
no chance.
No. We talked about this a bit. A Burnsville city official has identified the 4 suspects who were taken into custody following reports of fights and gunfire at a high school graduation in Burnsville. It is Abdulkani Mukhtar Abdi Wahab, Abdullah Hama Ali, Amir Walid Ali, and Mustafa Youssef Omar all are 18 years old. According to the Dakota County Jail roster, two of them, Abdul Wahab and Abdul Ali Jama Ali, are being held on probable cause of a drive-by shooting with a dangerous weapon toward a motor vehicle or building, possession of a dangerous weapon on school property, and carrying a pistol without a permit. It's unknown if any of the men who were arrested were connected to Burnsville High School in any way. The incident occurred 30 minutes after the Burnsville High School graduation ceremony ended, just west of the school building, when multiple reports of gunshots were made. Police say luckily no injuries reported, and the four men were taken into custody. A single firearm was recovered at the scene. A Minnesota man accumulated numerous and varied firearms that included homemade guns, according to charges that also allege he spoke about blowing up government buildings and a house of worship. 22-year-old Jonathan Neek of Austin, charged in Mower County District Court last week with 8 counts of possessing guns without a serial number in connection with the stockpile seized by police from his home's garage. Neek was arrested that day on a separate felony allegation. The charges cited 2 roommates who moved out late last month, telling police they heard Neek say what they called unhinged things, including how easy it is to build a pipe bomb. When asked what Neek would hypothetically blow up, he listed Mayo's Gonda building in Rochester, the Olmsted County Government Center, the state capitol, and a synagogue. The roommates added that Neek has white nationalist views and has gone into detail about what he would like to do to Jewish people. They also said Neek is anti-law enforcement and has said multiple times he's not afraid to shoot police if pulled over. In the search, police seized the 8 guns without serial numbers, also found other handguns and rifles, including an AR-15, ammunition, various gun parts, a tactical vest, handgun magazines, and a pipe bomb with a container of nails next to it. Police detective spoke with Neek soon after his arrest. He said that his comments about blowing up various high-profile locations were jokes, but he admitted they're probably not the type of jokes that he should be making. Why don't we take a quick break here and hear from Mr. Reavers.
Thanks, John. Let's talk about my friends at North American Banking Company. You see, North American Banking Company has one simple philosophy, and that's this. It's banking done differently. And you get that feeling anytime that you walk into any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. It doesn't matter whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks. Whether you're looking to buy a home, maybe finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about, my friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. And when they first opened back in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers, where you know your banker and they know you. And while a lot has changed since then, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, that has not. So your first step can be checking them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Once again, it's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Fighting.
Hello.
Excuse me?
Fighting the demagogues of diversity. It's Joe Souchere.
Minnesota's Freemasons. Let me tell you a little bit about their great ideas. You've heard me for a couple years talk on Garage Logic about Minnesota Freemasons and some of the great stuff they're doing. They do really big things like donating over $6 million annually to support cancer research, aging studies, and children's communications disorders, all the while awarding scholarships to dozens of high school students each year. It's over 8,000 plus Freemasons throughout Minnesota, and they're working together to make the world a better place by focusing on the core values of friendship, personal development, and helping those in need. It makes a lot of sense. That's what we talk about here on Garage Logic. Minnesota Freemasons are also helping mentor the next generation, putting their money where their mouth is with the really exciting initiative, the Civility Project. The Civility Project, it's a series of events throughout Minnesota designed to engage the younger generation, teach them the significance of decorum, kindness, civility in today's society. You know that's lacking. This project emphasizes values that are more important now than ever, putting down the phone, tone, eye contact, and learning to work alongside those who may see the world a little differently. Just another example of Freemasonry at work. And the next civility project, probably going to be in Farmington and Red Wing. Stay tuned. I'll find the dates for you and announce them when we're ready to roll. And if you'd like to learn more about Freemasonry and the Civility Project, please, by all means, go to mnfreemasons.org.
Thanks, Rook. In national and international stories, the big national story, of course, coming from Los Angeles. President Trump deploying about 2,000 National Guard troops to L.A. over the weekend after protests over immigration arrests turned violent. At least 3 people reported injured, including 2 sheriff's deputies and a union leader arrested for obstruction on Friday. The decision came after about 350 to 400 people gathered Friday and Saturday to protest immigration arrests in downtown L.A. and nearby Paramount. Demonstrators clashed with immigration and customs enforcement agents, with some throwing Molotov cocktails and chunks of concrete, burning cars and defacing a building. Officers released tear gas, pepper spray, and flashbang explosives. ICE reported 118 arrests last week in L.A., including 5 people the agency said were tied to criminal organizations. The president nationalized California's Guard using Title X authority, which placed him at the head of the chain of command. In this case, he bypassed California Governor Gavin Newsome to do so, an approach last taken during the civil rights era. Meanwhile, Governor Newsome said California is suing the Trump administration over its deployment of the Guard to quell those protests. In an interview last night on MSNBC, Newsome said the lawsuit would challenge Trump's federalizing of the California National Guard without state consent, a move with little precedent in U.S. history. He said, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. The governor pointed to Trump's Truth Social posts earlier on Sunday, in which he said the National Guard had done a great job. Newsome said the state forces had not even been deployed at that point. He called Trump's actions Orwellian, simply lying to people, unconstitutional, illegal acts. His mess, we're trying to clean it up. Later in the interview, Newsome was asked about border czar Tom Homan's comments, indicating he would not rule out arresting Newsome or L.A. Mayor Karen Bass if they interfered in the efforts. Newsome replying, come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with, tough guy. I don't give a damn, but I care about my community. I care about this community.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Bring it on there.
So you mean to tell me that this gutless weenie Newsome is going to not bother to fix any issues that are plaguing his state right now, but instead he's going to waste his time and resources on suing the federal government?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Have you met Keith Ellison?
Pot, meat, kettle, is that what you're trying to say, Kenny? Wow, what a clown show. My favorite video was Maxine Waters attempting to confront ICE at the door, and they slammed the door in her face and just said, stop, we've got things to take care of here, because she was trying to play tough guy as well.
Well, all of that goes on. House Speaker Mike Johnson took clear sides Sunday in President Trump's breakup with mega billionaire Elon Musk. Johnson said Musk's criticism of the GOP's massive tax and budget policy bill will not derail the measure. He downplayed Musk's influence over the GOP-controlled Congress. Johnson said he has exchanged text messages with Musk since the former chief of Trump's Department of Government Efficiency came out against the GOP bill. Musk called the bill an abomination that would add to the U.S. debt and threaten economic stability. He urged voters to flood Capitol Hill with calls to vote against the measure, which is pending in the Senate after clearing the House. In his confirmation hearings to lead the National Institutes of Health, Jay Bhattacharya pledged his openness to views that might conflict with his own. Dissent, he said, is the very essence of science. That commitment is being put to a test. This morning, about 100 scientists at the agency sent their leader a letter titled the Bethesda Declaration, challenging policies that undermine, they say, the NIH mission, waste public resources, and harms the health of Americans and people across the globe. In a capital where insiders often insist on anonymity, say those kind of things, the 92 NIH researchers, program directors, branch chiefs, and review officers put their signatures on the letter. Another 250 of their colleagues across the agency endorsed the declaration without using their names. ABC News has suspended correspondent Terry Moran for calling Trump administration Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller a world-class hater in a since-deleted social media post. ABC News, in a statement, said it stands for objectivity and impartiality in its news coverage and does not condone subjective personal attacks on others. The New York-based network said Moran was suspended pending further evaluation. Moran, who interviewed President Trump a few weeks ago, said in his post on X at 12:06 a.m. on Sunday, the president was a world-class hater too. But he wrote that for the president, his hatred is a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. For Miller, Moran's post said, his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate.
He went to Duke. He's a Dookie.
Moran?
Miller.
Oh, Miller.
Yeah.
Got it. Whatever happened to the cherry red Gibson ES 345 guitar used by Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future?
I don't know, and I don't care.
I know. It was a blues riff in B. Watch him for the changes, and you got to try to keep up.
Thank you. Apparently, the instrument has gone missing, and Gibson is launching a global search to uncover it. You'll remember, and Rook just referenced it, Marty McFly at a high school dance in the film playing a face-melting guitar solo. It was a very funny bit in the middle of the movie. Michael J. Fox played the guitar, and he actually does play guitar. He said it's always been a big part of his life. He said when they talked about that scene, he sat down with the cinematographer and choreographer and said, I want to riff through all my favorite guitarists like Jimi Hendrix, Pete Townsend, and Eddie Van Halen. He said, I'm really happy with the scene because it was an expression of love for the guitar and all the great players. Apparently, though, when filmmakers returned for a pair of sequels in 1989, they couldn't find the instrument, and it's never been found. Gibson has now launched a campaign to recover the instrument after all these years. Fans who have any tips regarding the whereabouts of the cherry red Gibson 345 that Fox played are asked to contact the Gibson company through a Lost to the Future website or leave tips and texts at 1-855-345-1955.
Why don't they just make another red one and tell you that that's what it was from the first movie?
Why don't they check with Michael J. Fox's closet?
Yeah.
It might be there under the bed or in the closet.
Just terrible, Kenny.
Yeah, I think he might have walked out.
I put it somewhere.
You know what? I wouldn't have put it past Marvin Berry to be very envious of that guitar as well.
Chuck's cousin.
Chuck's cousin.
Now, guitar geeks will tell you this every time this story comes up. I'm sure I've told you guys this. It is true that guitar didn't exist in 1955 when the movie is set. The Gibson ES 345.
Oh, that kind of stuff drives me crazy.
I want to punch people that say that stuff.
Kenny's on my side.
Yeah.
Are you really? You're trying to be true to form or the era?
Yeah, but they weren't in 1955.
They do that with cars and motors. Oh, chaps my hide.
Joe, he went
Wasn't
back.
the whole point of Back to the Future where you go forward or something?
Well, but he doesn't take the guitar with him, Joe. So the guitar is being played by the band members.
Yeah, just a small bit.
Did you miss that one? You didn't see that?
So
I think I saw it.
The ES 345 was first produced in 1958. And a cherry red finish wasn't available until 1959.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Well, Chuck Berry later famously used the 345. He would have been playing a Gibson ES5 Switchmaster in 1955.
Oh, sure.
Switchmaster? I've never heard of that.
It's a
Sounds
in
like a
between
predecessor?
guitar. Semi-hollow, yeah.
Cool.
Semi-hollow. Filmmakers wanted the look of an ES 345 for the movie, even though they knew it was an anachronism.
So they just ran with it anyway.
Yeah.
We do have a bit of breaking news here in the Garage Logic newsroom, courtesy of our buddy Tom Hauser with KSTP. Joe, we've got some issues going on over at the Capitol right
Did they
now.
reach agreement?
Not quite.
Oh.
We've got a stage sit-in going on right now.
Oh, boy.
The DFL are chanting, shame on you, or sorry, DFL, shame on you. Immigrants need health care too.
Could Americans go to any other country in the world to get away with this BS?
No. Maybe Canada.
Yeah.
This seems like the kind of thing you shouldn't have to tell people, but, and Rook, perhaps, I don't know, maybe you can weigh in on this too. Costco come with a variety of perks. However, the Transportation Security Administration recently debunked a rumor that customers' warehoused club cards substitute for real ID.
What?
TSA proclaimed in an ex
Yeah, I got to get on the Spirit Airlines.
With my roll of paper towels.
The TSA proclaimed in an X post last week, "We love hot dogs and rotisserie chickens as much as the next person, but please stop telling people their Costco card counts as a real ID because it absolutely
It's real.
does not."
Yeah, it's real. Right here.
Wow.
TSA Pacific spokesperson Lori Dankers told SF Gate that the rumor of Costco cards being accepted as official ID pops up every year or so. Airports are seeing people trying to use them. It won't work. And in fact, according to Dankers, it could lead to delays and some travel headaches. So don't try to use your Costco card to board a plane.
Wow. Wow. I do believe that, though. I do believe that.
Yeah, this ID's real.
Yeah.
Is your picture on it?
It is.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd count it.
Well, so is my Harvard badge, Kenny. Can't use that either.
Good point. Wing, the drone company owned by Alphabet and Walmart, are expanding their delivery partnership to 5 new cities. In other words, you can order from Walmart, and they'll deliver your order by drone. It's happening now, or will be, in Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, Orlando, and Tampa. Wing and Walmart currently offer drone delivery at about 15 stores in Arkansas. The announcement today will bring an additional 100 stores into the fold. There are some restrictions here. Customers must live within 6 miles of the Walmart under FAA rules governing drone operations. An order needs to be under a certain weight to qualify for drone delivery. Walmart says that covers everything from groceries to health and wellness products to household goods, all of which then could be delivered by drone.
I'll eat it out.
I don't want it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh. Goodbye.
No.
He sounds impressed.
What?
You have another, I believe, thing to tell our audience, don't you, today, sir?
Oh, about my lawyer guys?
Yes.
Yeah, Bradshaw and Bryant. Mm-hmm. I thought about them the other day because...
Were you in a tussle?
Yeah.
No, the kid, one of the kids I used to have, I told you about her, she... when she hits something in her car, she just keeps hitting it until it's done.
Right.
If she's going around a curve, the whole car will reflect.
A bank post.
But none of that would require her to need Bradshaw and Bryant because they're for more personal
the people she hit need Bradshaw
she
and
doesn't
Bryant.
hit people. She just hits things. Bradshaw and Bryant are personal injury attorneys. If you're like me and many other people, you may not know what to do. If you're ever injured in an accident, let them deal with it. They're the professionals. Bradshaw and Bryant are there to explain your rights, represent you, and help you through a tough time. For 6 consecutive years, Mike Bryant has been recognized as a super lawyer and has been named among Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers by Minnesota Law and Politics, and they are the Bible. If they say you're a top lawyer, you're a top lawyer. Bradshaw and Bryant hopes you're never in an accident, but if you are, call Bradshaw and Bryant at 800-770-7008 or go to MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Your case evaluation, of course, is on them. Also, Bradshaw and Bryant does not want you to be part of the problem. Don't text and drive. Don't drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant. Yeah.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
We mentioned last week there is a pencil carved out of a tree. It's in a yard over by Lake of the Isles. And this weekend, a ceremony was held at the site of the pencil, and our correspondent, the Mink, happened to take it in. He walked over there and checked it out. And it was called the Great Sharpening. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, please.
Approximately 2,000 people
Fun.
were enjoying the festivities. The MC was speechifying upon my arrival to the ceremonial honing of this wonderful yard art. Although we could not hear from our location, the PA system was not prepared for the number of pencil worshipers. However, the drones were up, the media in place, and we could hear the music. We noted first the souvenir inflatable pencils and little pointy pencil hats. This was accompanied by the slingshotting of prizes into the crowd. There were people laughing, people talking. There's a man selling ice cream, singing Italian songs. The Mink even threw a little Chicago in there. We noted the presence of alpenhorns, but I did not hear any of them play, as I, for one, was ready to shout, Ricola! To everyone's delight, a drum corps soon followed. A local high school outfit we gathered. Next up were dancers dressed like pencils. The costumes were a little different, though. The heads were the erasers. Well done, said I. Then a large group of youngsters danced on the lawn with Faber-Castells to Prince's I Would Die For You, along with just the right amount of purple smoke. What the hell? We found the subsequent events to be the most surreal. Towards the beginning, the youth were asked to write down questions for the pencil.
Really? Come on.
These were gathered up, and at this point, a tin can on a string affair was run from the stage to the tip of the pencil so the questions could be relayed and answered.
What?
Oh,
and again, the
golly.
inadequate PA allowed us to hear only tidbits of questions and answers. Finally,
Maybe
we
that's the
heard
best.
finally we heard the lead up to the actual sharpening. The sharpener was brought out under a veil, and the pencil dancers gathered around. This is getting to be frightening.
Did the
I
pencil
think.
sign autographs?
I think this is frightening. Richard Strauss's Also Sprach Zarathustra, 2001: A Space Odyssey music, played as the sharpener was unveiled. There was the appropriate dancing and genuflecting as the equipment was prepared for the lift to the top of the scaffolding. The sharpener was applied, turned, along with pretend shavings being strewn about, and removed to reveal a crisply sharpened number 2 ready for the new year. This scribe cannot begin to comment on the validity of the yard art or the accompanying celebrations, but to this particular party I say, Ecce Plumbum. I don't know what that means. That'd be Latin. Some kind of Latin.
Let the good times roll.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
So thank you to the Mink, because our correspondents certainly didn't get over there, did they? Were you able to get over there?
I did not make it. I was doing my DEI.
We have another ship burning, this time in the Pacific, and it's full of 70 AVs and 681 hybrid cars. It's on its way to Mexico. It's 300 miles south of Adak, Alaska. The exact number of vehicles aboard the 600-foot Liberian-flagged cargo vessel, which is managed by a UK company, has been confirmed at 3,048 total vehicles.
Wow.
Of those, 70 are fully electric, 681 are hybrid electric. What a mess that makes, huh? The Coast Guard reports the status of the fire is uncertain, although smoke is still visibly emanating from the vessel. As the search and rescue portion of our response concludes, our crews are working closely with the vessel's manager, Zodiac Maritime, to determine the disposition of the vessel, said Rear Admiral Megan Dean, commander of the Coast Guard's 17th District. We are grateful, blah, blah, blah. Okay. EV sales might not have caught a light in the way automakers hope, but news of another shipping fire reminds us that electric cars sure are combustible. The cargo ship was on its way from Asia to North America when a fire broke out, forcing the crew to abandon the vessel in the middle of the Pacific, leaving thousands of brand new cars aboard. All right.
Wow.
It's called the Morning Midas. It departed China for Mexico on May 26, carrying the 3,000 cars. But 8 days into its 19-day voyage, just after midnight on June 3, smoke was spotted billowing from one of the decks. The fire originated in the section of the ship carrying electric vehicles. These things burn at the drop of a hat, don't they? Let's get out of here.
Start some burning.
The crew initiated emergency procedures with the vessel's onboard fire suppression systems. However, despite their efforts, the situation could not be contained. After contacting the Coast Guard, the 22-man crew decided to abandon ship. They jumped into a lifeboat, after which they were picked up by a nearby merchant ship. With the fire still burning at the time of this writing, the condition of thousands of cars still on board is unknown. This is not the first time.
So,
Go ahead.
It's adrift?
Yeah, there's nobody on it.
Jeez.
3 years ago, another ship, this one loaded with 4,000 cars. This is the one with the Porsche, the Bentleys, and the Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
That went up in flames in the Atlantic. Attempts were made to tow. That was called the Felicity Ace to safety. But after burning for 2 weeks, the boat capsized and sank near the Azores.
Oh.
Well, I don't know the fate of this crew. All 22 crew were saved. But the VW Group said the insurance company was looking at a $155 million bill to replace the lost cars.
Oh, boy.
Well, this is still the Felicity story. Lamborghini even restarted production of the discontinued Aventador to replace a customer's car lost in the accident.
I have a serious question. Here we go. How do they stack these cars? What are they housed in?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
These are big ships.
Well, I know that, but I mean, they don't just park the car on the, what is it inside of?
A crate.
The boat.
You two should do a podcast. Jesus.
No, isn't it above water?
The boat? I hope so.
No, I mean the cars.
Calm
Or
down.
are they in a airtight, watertight
Sure, that was
compartment?
the best. I hope so. I hope it was above water.
You are listening to the Flotilla podcast on the Garage Logic
Matt,
Network.
I don't know.
You know
It's a
what,
big
Ruck?
cargo bay, and they drive them in there and park
I'm gonna
them.
look it up.
Hosted by Captain Joe Souchere
Now,
and first-hand Matthew Mikulski.
interestingly enough,
Thank you.
some shipping companies, a Norwegian company, for example, will refuse to ship electric vehicles. The
He
risk-
said ship with a P.
Cars
right.
are transported across the ocean using specialized shipping methods like roll-on, roll-off, and container shipping. Ro-ro, as in roll-on, roll-off, ships are designed with ramps to allow cars to be driven on and off, while container shipping involves loading cars into secure shipping containers.
So
Yes.
it's either way.
Okay.
And it is above water.
So
That's good.
the
Okay.
problem is the damn electric vehicle fires are
They
difficult.
start on fire.
They're difficult to put out.
I got another one burning.
And it's a.
And that brings up another interesting
Thank
point.
you. Here I am.
How much fuel would you put in a car if it's being shipped across the ocean?
not
You want to keep her light.
very. That's true.
And you
Don't
use
worry about
unleaded.
it. What do you think they
You
went
brought
looking
it
for a
up.
deal before they put gas in them?
Well, it might be cheaper overseas than it is here, fuel.
Only because they come to us.
Oh, wait a minute. Stop. Let me ask an equally stupid question.
Thank you.
Here we
Reavers,
go.
you've inspired me. Thank you for being so dumb.
You're welcome.
Can't they just unhook the batteries? Oh, stumper. Nothing.
No. Well, stop and think for a minute.
Here we go.
An EV is not just a matter of unhooking a positive.
Yeah,
and-
just unhook the red one, the happy cable.
No, the whole car is a battery.
Oh, unhook the unhappy cable then.
Would you
No.
please
The sad
pronounce it
cable.
correctly? It's pronounced battery.
Battery.
Yeah, well, the whole undercarriage is a battery.
Okay, thanks, Professor.
Well, I mean, don't be. You are. That was almost. That was worse than some rookie would ask.
Thank
Can
you.
I
Thank
unhook
you.
the
I'm
battery?
off the hook.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ha ha, rookie.
Yeah.
Ha, ha.
What, and you are confirming
wins.
it is above water.
It hasn't sunk yet.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's a ghost ship, though.
it is. It's
I'd
just,
run and get me one of them cars.
well, how would you get it out of there? No, I don't even want to know that.
A boat.
only because they come to us.
Go on out there, Elroy.
Big crane.
All the way from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. The traveling linemen are taking a respite in Eden Prairie, then probably headed back to Africa. We'll be kept up to date on that. It was on this day in Minnesota.
You mean June 9th?
That's right. 1871. A court ordered an injunction against construction of the Duluth Ship Canal. Oh, I have the wrong page out again. I always meant to separate those. The Duluth Ship Canal, which Duluth was building in order to divert traffic from Superior, Wisconsin, which has the natural mouth of the harbor. Duluth Mayor J.B. Culver ordered the excavation into high speed, completing the work on June 13, just before the formal court order was delivered. Duluth's reply to Superior was, "You can stop the water if you can. We can't." The aerial lift bridge now crosses that canal. On this day,
June 9th.
in 1892, Ira S. Field died at age 78. He and his business partner, John Wesley North, co-founded Northfield. So John North and S. Field, Northfield, they were the founders. That recently, 1892, that's not that long ago.
Wonder why they picked that order, not Field North.
That's a good question.
He was here first.
On this day,
June 9th.
in 1894, the steamer Northwest, built in Cleveland for James J. Hill's Northern Steamship Company, arrived in Duluth, completing its maiden voyage.
Yes, and how, of course, did they arrive?
They didn't talk like that.
Where's Mr. Hill? I have his steamship.
On this day,
June 9th.
in 1921, the Cottonwood Oil Company, the first oil cooperative in the U.S., was incorporated. And finally, on this day,
June 9th.
in 1979,
Let's be accurate.
Governor Al Quie called out the National Guard to protect truck drivers who continued to work during a nationwide strike. Al Quie did that. Al Quie was a interesting cat.
My mom was the official calligrapher for Minnesota for Governor Al Quie. What do you think about that?
Thank you very much. That's interesting.
I don't have a date on it, but
Well, he was your late 70s.
yeah.
I knew Al. He was. You know what he was? He's a horseman.
Was she the last official calligrapher for Minnesota?
I think so. I think the governor used
Does
her.
Cockwomble got a calligrapher?
No, it's probably all done on computer now.
Text.
But she did some stuff for Governor Ventura.
On this day in sports disappointment history.
You're talking about June 9th, Joe.
Well, we had a little follow-up on this day in 1975. Twins manager Frank Quillisi gave the wrong lineup card to the ump, and the Twins batted out of order.
Ooh.
Nothing follows that. I don't know. Were there consequences?
Well,
for
yeah,
it?
the whoever was up would be ruled out.
How's that happen?
Frank was capable of that, I think. God love you, Frank.
All right.
And I did love him. He was a great guy. Is he with us?
Thank you.
We lost him.
Check it out, John. Frank Quillisi.
Is his brother still alive?
Bill.
Frank Quillisi.
Frank died in 2018.
Oh, shoot. How old did he make it?
He made it to the ripe old age of 79.
Not old enough. Frank should still be with us. On this day,
June 9th.
in 1976, the Kicks lost to Pele's New York Cosmos 2-1. But on this day, in 1976, I believe I was there, they set the North American Soccer League attendance record.
With
Which-
Ace Nesselenge.
Which meant that on that day, most people decided to go into the stadium instead of stay in the parking lot.
I see. What was the listed attendance?
Doesn't say.
Oh. 54,000.
Here we go, 54.
He's got it.
And finally, on
Did you write a book about the stadium?
No. You know, it's probably in there now that you mentioned it.
Might be.
Yeah. I love when he sits in a room. We can't see him, but he's participating in the show.
Yes.
He gave us information.
On this day,
On June 9th,
in 2022, the Twins led off with 3 consecutive home runs, but then what happened?
they lost.
3 consecutive home runs. Then lost to the Yankees 10-7. That was the only second time in MLB history that happened,
Wow.
where a team started off the game with 3 home runs and lost the game.
We've still found a way to screw her up.
See, now that's a sports disappointment.
Yes, it is.
Worth the price of admission right there.
Especially against those cheating Yankees.
In 2022, that would have been it was either at Target Field or Yankee Stadium. I don't know where.
Wow. Way to narrow it down.
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
I got it down to 2 spots.
You got her.
Yeah.
could have guessed that one.
Thank you yes, John.
may I add something to that? Because Chris was picking on my team, the Yankees.
Yeah.
The Yankees have done that very thing that was only done twice up to that point, 2 times this season already.
But not lost.
No, they didn't lose.
Yeah.
No, but they let off a game. Twice this season alone with 3 home runs.
Twice this season alone, the Yankees have led off with 3 straight homers,
That's correct, sir.
and nobody would have been on base.
You know why, Joe?
Right?
All
You
solos.
can do that when your left field and right field walls are about 260. It's easy to do.
What if they did it on the road?
No way.
What's currently the biggest ballpark in the major leagues? Pat,
Coors Field.
what's the biggest ballpark in the major leagues?
Coming up on Monday Night Sports Talk.
We'll break that news for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, GLers.
Please do us a favor, hit the subscribe button on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show live each and every single day. You can also interact with the show as we do the show live each and every single day. So just search for Garage Logic on YouTube and join the thousands of subscribers that are already partaking. You can also follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast.